Hello there, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Ted in Your Head podcast. I am the Ted in your head. I'm Ted Moreno, certified hypnotherapist and coach, and I am very grateful that you've tuned in and you're listening to this today. In my work and in my own personal life, my goal is to seek liberation from those things that would hold us back. I've identified lack, limitation, and lethargy as kind of the main things that keep us from becoming who we want to be and doing what we want to do. And once we can work to move those things out of the way, then we can intentionally pursue a path of personal transformation. And that's what I'm up to, and I hope you are too. So let's get into today's podcast. And let me start by saying that last week, in my podcast last week, I talked about the holiday blues. So the title of last week's podcast was Good Grief, the Holiday Blues, and talked about Charlie Brown and the Grinch because I played those characters in 6th and 7th grade. And anyway, the reason for these podcasts during this time of year is that I struggled for many years during the holiday season, and I still do a little bit. And the reason I'm doing this podcast today is that it's my continuing exploration of how to make authentic meaning of this time of the year. And I guess my struggle has always been to avoid getting caught up and overwhelmed by all this superficial stuff and to try to stay rooted in what is real. And it occurs to me that question, what is real, is what really stokes my curiosity about these things. What does it really mean? And this particular subject of what does it really mean is something that I covered 5 years ago, but I found it so interesting that I thought I would share it again with you. So the title of today's podcast is The Promise of Light in the Darkest Night. So you may know that something will happen on December 21st at 3:03 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. At that point, the sun will be at its lowest point on the horizon, the point in the year where the night is longest and the day is shortest in the northern hemisphere. This is known as the winter solstice. Now, this is a natural, astronomical event that is scientifically calculated to the second. Even though many people associate the winter solstice with pagans and druids and Stonehenge and New Age, it is an astronomical event, not an astrological event, but an astronomical scientific event. However, there are reasons why people associate pagans and druids and Stonehenge with the winter solstice. And the reason is that humans from ancient times have observed this natural movement from the dark to the light, and they've celebrated it in many, many different ways. It's symbolic of rebirth and new beginnings as the sun begins its conquest over the cold and darkness of winter. So on December 21st, from that point on, the days will get longer and warmer until the summer solstice in June. And that's when the sun's daily path across the sky is at its highest. And then at that point, guess what happens? It starts moving slowly closer to the horizon every day to where winter once again reasserts itself as it approaches the winter solstice. I read a very interesting book from 2000 that was quite excellent in portraying how indigenous peoples looked to nature for transformation and growth. The name of this book was Shaman, Healer, Sage by Alberto Villoldo. And this book illustrated how shamanism was one way that ancient people drew wisdom and healing from nature. So he writes that this darkness at this time of year is an opportunity to work on our own inner transformation. So the following is something that Alberto Villoldo wrote in a newsletter that he put out a few years back. So I'm going to read it for you. And he wrote that medicine men and women for thousands of years have celebrated the solstice as a time of moving from the dark to the light and acknowledging the continuity of nature's cycles. For indigenous cultures, the sun was the source of life and the center of spiritual awareness. For the shaman, this is a heightened time of meditation and reflection, a time for inner work and transformation. This time of darkness is a time to explore not only what might be stopping you, but as a time also to plant the seeds you want to grow for the coming year. End quote. Now, you may not be a shaman or a medicine man or woman, but as you probably know, throughout the world there are many celebrations this time of the year because humans recognize that our existence depends on the light of the sun. We celebrate light, for example, with brightly colored lights hung in our houses and trees, with holiday candles. We gather together to ward off the cold and the darkness and celebrate the warmth of our family and friends. The most popular celebration, as you probably know, is Christmas, which celebrates the birth of Christ, believed by Christians to be the light of the world, and as God's Son, bringing the world from darkness to light. Jews celebrate Hanukkah, also known as the Festival of Lights. Buddhists celebrate Bodhi Day on December 8th. This is the day the Buddha received enlightenment. Diwali is the Hindu festival of lights, celebrating the victory of good over evil. And the list of winter festivals goes on and on. And if you go to the blog post for this particular podcast, you can click on a link. We'll show you a number of different winter festivals that celebrate light. Light is the universal symbol for the light of spiritual awareness. And to me, spiritual awareness is acknowledging and connecting with that part of us which is infinite and all-knowing. You might call it God, infinite intelligence, higher consciousness, whatever your belief system is. Now, as a hypnotherapist involved in transformational work, my goal is to help people increase their awareness on all levels and to shine this light of awareness on those dark shadow parts that we all have that hold us back from realizing our full potential as creative beings. A popular word this time of year is peace. Amidst the hustle and bustle of the season, you can take time to connect with the peace that lies deep within you. Or maybe I should ask, can you take time to connect with the peace that lies deep within you? Connecting with that quiet place within you will give you the space to plant the seeds of your own transformation. Now, you might do this through quiet reflection, meditation, prayer. Take some time to be by yourself to think about your life and how you want it to be. Because once we get on that little hamster wheel, right, of day in, day out, same day, right, same stuff, it's easy to lose sight of where we're going and who we want to be and what we want to do. So don't wait until New Year's to plant those seeds. Begin now to write down goals, dreams, and visions of what you want to create for the coming year. Happiness, health, strength, confidence, abundance. Think about what's working for you and what's not working for you and what needs to be released that may be holding you back. So I invite you to take this time of darkness, the time when animals are hibernating, take this time to go inside and really take some time to reflect on what you want to grow when the light comes back. Alberto Villoldo, the author of the book that I mentioned, he said something very intriguing in this book, and I want to share it with you. He believes that we're seeing a new species of human born now on the earth, which he refers to as Homo luminous, human of light. If this is true, and I would like to believe that it is, however far-fetched it may sound, if this is true, then it says that we're continuing to evolve as human beings. even though right now it may not seem that way. So let us walk courageously through this dark time, as well as through our own darkness, as we celebrate the light within in all of our many different ways. The evolution of our human family need not wait for generations, but it can happen now, starting with you. So remember, the darkness at this time teaches us what the trees already know. Darkness is only a season, and the light always finds its way back, and that is the promise in the night. So I wish you a warm and peaceful holiday season. As you know, if you need help, you can reach out to me by going to tedmoreno.com/contact. We'll have a short little conversation, find out if what I do is right for you, and if you're ready, we can schedule a session. So thanks so much for tuning in. Take good care of yourself, and if you can, take good care of somebody else too. Bye now.